Hey guys, just a quick video to tie a few things together and explain all the fuss surrounding the Venmo screenshots that are floating around social media. In part 2 of our Unmasking NK series, we discuss how NK tells investigators that she went on a trip the last few days of June, first few days of July. So we'll tie in the Venmo screenshots with the timeline and talk about why everyone's finding those so interesting. So in one of our groups a long time ago, we had stumbled across these on Venmo, and we didn't really know how they would fit, so we just kind of held on to them and didn't do much with them. But a couple days ago, these started making the rounds on social media. As a note regarding privacy, these posts were marked as public and have been posted in multiple places. So we dug into everything, and we're going to explain what is being blown out of proportion and what we found that was relevant. One of the topics being discussed is the Venmo transaction between NK and her friend Danielle on August 12, 2018. Danielle is a friend of NK's from the oil industry and comes to stay with her on Friday, August 10th. This also lines up with what she tells investigators during her second interview on August 16th. If you'll remember from Discovery, when police are at Chris and Shanann's home on August 13th, they ask him to check his bank account. He tells them about a taxi charge that he sees. He's implying to police that maybe Shanann took a taxi to leave with the girls. However, they are later able to confirm that this charge is actually from a Lyft that they took while on their business trip to Arizona. So when you look at everything logically, the Venmo charge on August 12th from NK to Danielle obviously looks like she's paying her back 2 days later for what's probably an Uber and drinks. So in the interest of keeping facts straight, we just thought we would point out that these appear to be completely unrelated. NK's 30th birthday was July 3rd, 2018. You can see from the Venmo screenshots being posted that her friends and family were actively planning a camping trip to celebrate. We discussed in our Unmasking NK series that NK told investigators that she took a trip the last few days of June, first couple days of July. So this lines up with that as well. There are several payments being made on June 2nd towards this birthday trip, and the one that everyone's talking about is the transaction where Hazelbrook Sober Living pays Nichol Kessinger on June 2nd for her birthday cabin. So what could the reason be? There could be a couple different reasons. She could have a close friend or family member who works there based on the location, or since the payment comes from the center itself, it could be some type of recovery gift or incentive. However, we don't know. So everything being said about that is purely speculation and not based on any facts. Naturally, there's a lot of interest around this because of the phone call that NK made to Hazelbrook the day before Chris left for North Carolina on July 30th. And as most of you know, this is the day before Chris claims that he drugged Shanann with the oxy to get her to miscarry, and she became very ill, according to her family. Could this all just be a coincidence and there's a rational explanation? Possibly, yes, there is, but it has caused a lot of speculation. Based on the Venmo screenshots, however, we were able to connect some dots from Discovery. We have brought up multiple times that throughout the investigation, NK has maintained that the first time she and Chris met outside of work or were intimate was the last few days of June, first few days of July. So as you can see from these texts that were sent from Chris to NK, Chris is in the red, on June 27th, the day that Shanann and the girls left for North Carolina, looks like at 2:42 p.m., so they were probably at work. Chris is all about loyalty, truthfulness, and being dedicated. All attributes I would give him. And it looks like they had a lot going on that night with the ice cream, cookies, and lollipops. This is also the night that Chris brings condoms over to NK's place, and she researches the expiration date on them. Totally normal. So if you match up the Venmo screenshots with the text exchange between Chris and NK on 6/29, the two things you can pull from that is, one, that's the day she leaves for her trip because he talks about how strange it will be not sleeping next to her, which is a little odd considering they've hooked up maybe once or twice, if you believe their timeline. And two, he's reassuring her that he'll still be able to see her. So I'm assuming that they were talking about when Shanann returns from North Carolina. The other interesting thing we found was this payment between Brittany and NK on July 13th. Even though it's a little more than a week after the birthday trip, it looks like Brittany's paying her back for that based on the emojis underneath and the timing. This also makes sense because on June 30th, while she's on her trip, NK texts Chris something that alludes to the fact that she's told one of her friends about the relationship, but because of a situation that they were in, they were not supportive of it, but she doesn't care and she's going forward with it anyway. This is important because when investigators go up to Wisconsin to interview Chris in February, they ask him about why he took his Facebook down on August 9th. He says that it was because NK told him to, because she had just told her friend Brittany about him and was worried that she would look him up. But now, as you can see from, if you put the Venmo screenshots with the text together, it looks like she's known about it for a long time, so that is not true. So again, we're left to wonder, is Chris just lying about that? Or did NK actually tell him that and she was lying about that to get him to take his Facebook down a couple of days before the murders? We don't know, but it's another piece to the puzzle. So hopefully we've been able to clear up the Venmo screenshot buzz for you a little bit and kind of point out what might just be rumor and not that important and what might actually help piece things together.